tell me which article you're talking about first. Emergency fund or baby boomer? Second one, the baby boomer one. Okay, so what did you find interesting about this article? Let's see, and in the line of one of the last paragraphs. Oh, wait, that's 6 months of savings. So that's going to be the emergency fund. Okay. Let's see, 12 months away. Another. Okay, I see. Noting the kinds of emergency expenses families might have to pay for, Bill Van Sant, Senior Vice President and Managing Director at Gerard Wealth Advisory Firm, recommends having enough cash to cover expenses for as many as 12 months. So, yeah, Nick, kind of right here. I think as we get a little bit more volatile in our economy, going up and down, um, I would feel more comfortable having 12 months worth of expenses than I would having 6. And I think we've kind of seen what would happen with uh, in this pandemic, right? If you only had 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up and you lost your job in March, that's March, April, May for 3, then June, July, August for 6. Um, and we know that there was some financial help from Congress for those first 3 months, but I think that financial help ended in July. Um, so when you ran out of savings in August, you would have been kind of up the creek. And at least with 12 months, you could have, as of right now, you would still be able to weather the storm. Although I think this storm is kind of one of those once in 100-year storms, in which maybe 12 months would not be enough. Just kind of crazy. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Who's next? Go ahead, Andrea.
It's that same article. I think it's just the page next to it, actually, or like after it,
Okay, rating the economy.
or no, after that. Is there? Yeah, I think that about how more people in like poor households would describe the U.S. economy as not good or poor in
Mhm.
comparison to like how richer people would call it good or better. I just
Mhm.
thought it was interesting because like there's like so many different ways to view the economy depending on like what what your situation is and how you see it. So it's hard to like think of it objectively.
Hmm. Well, why do you think that lower income Americans feel worse about the economy than higher income?
Probably because they have like lower income jobs, so it's harder for them with money to like manage it, so they feel more at a disadvantage.
Yeah, yeah. Which group do you think is more likely to have money invested in the stock market?
Richer people.
Yeah, tend to be wealthier, right? Because if you want to have money invested in the stock market, you need to have disposable income to put in there. Um, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of people we tend to equate the status of the economy with how the stock market is doing, right? You see politicians all the time talk about, man, the economy is doing all so great. The stock market just hit another all-time high. But looking at what this past year has brought, um, it helps us to realize the stock market is not the economy, right? I mean, right now, is the stock market at or near all-time highs? It is. It actually is, right? It's kind of crazy. I'm going to pull up the S&P 500 because S&P 500 is the market index for the top that follows the top 500 companies in the US. And we're just going to take a look at it over the past, we're going to do 1 year. Because year to date would just give us um, the last 14 days. So I'm trying to scroll down. Okay. So here's back in March. And let me do 5 years actually. Okay. So here's the beginning of 2020. Here we have the previous all-time high on February 3rd, 2020. Then COVID hit. And we had this sharp decline. But if you look at what this past year has done, right? Here's July, we're almost back to all-time highs. We get to all-time highs about the beginning of August. And from then, we've just surpassed all-time highs. So if you only looked at the stock market, you'd think the economy is doing really well. If you only if you looked at people's jobs and the unemployment rate right now, we're at a 6.7, so almost 7% unemployment. And most of the people that are going to be in the 6.7% are going to be your low income people. All right. So they don't have money in stocks. They don't care what the stock market is doing. But their view of the economy is going to be pretty bad because they can't get a job here, right? But yeah, the stock market, not the economy. Yeah, it's interesting to think how different people have different priorities and based on where they are, the stock market may make them think that the economy is doing pretty well because they have money in the stocks, right? Okay, thank you. All right, Trinity, what do you find interesting?
About the second article, it talks about how if baby boomers retire now and have a retirement savings of 144K, it's not going to cover their expenses.
Uh-huh. Yeah, why'd you find that interesting?
Because most people think that 144K is enough to cover expenses, but then they calculated it and it said that they will fall, I think, 2,000 short. So that was kind of interesting. And it kind of gives me a number on how much I need to have in my retirement savings. So
Yeah, yeah. I think we talked a little bit about that yesterday. We kind of need close to $1 million to be comfortable, right? And that kind of brings me into kind of what I want to talk about today. I'm going to try something. Let's see how it works here. Let me know if y'all lose the feed at all. Okay. Y'all still with me? I took the videos off, so I can't see your faces right now. Just give me a new page. Okay. So when we talk about retirement, everyone can still see the screen? Yes.
yes.
So when we talk about retirement, we used to have this three-legged stool. That's a horrible stool. Let me try redrawing that. Okay, a three-legged stool, which is a three-legged stool pretty stable? Yes? Is a three-legged stool stable?
Yes.
Yeah, you can sit in that, right? And so this is the three-legged stool for retirement. Okay, and each leg made up something, gave you some stability in your years of retirement. Okay, so one of these legs is your personal savings. Personal savings. Another one of these legs is Social Security. And the third leg of retirement is pensions. Okay. Has anyone heard what a pension is? Have y'all heard of that at all? No? Okay, so what a pension is, you work for a company for a set number of years, and when you retire, that company is going to pay you the same amount each month or each year for the rest of your life. So you knew what you were going to get every single month, and you could plan for that. It's what we called in the financial advisory community, what we called a defined benefit plan. And it was called defined benefit because you knew how much you were going to get. Yeah, right. So you could plan for that. It helped you. The problem or the issue that companies found with these plans is that they're pretty expensive for the company to maintain, because they have to essentially pay for people that are now retired, and they have to continue paying for people that are retired. until they die. Okay, so this has kind of fallen. In fact, I probably will never have a pension, and y'all will probably never have a pension. Okay, because a lot of companies don't do this anymore. Okay, they have changed, they've gone from pensions to 401ks, which are defined contribution plans. Meaning the known amount is what is going into it, and then it's our employees' responsibility to manage this money. Okay, with pensions and defined benefit, it was the company's responsibility to manage that money. Now, with 401ks, it's our responsibility. So it's kind of transferred over here to personal savings. Okay, so this leg is kind of gone. Next up is Social Security. Have y'all talked about Social Security in any other class, government or anything? Okay, Nick's shaking his head. Yes. Okay. Do we tend to think that Social Security is going to last forever? It's actually planning on going bankrupt. If nothing changes, the Social Security system will go bankrupt within the next 20 years. Right? Meaning that the money coming in is not going to be enough to pay out. So what that means for us is we can expect to receive not our full benefits. Right? And that's a full, okay? Not our full benefits. And some people say that Social Security is going to be gone completely. I don't believe that. I think it's still going to be here. But when we retire, instead of receiving 100% of our benefits, we're probably going to receive more like 75% of our benefits of what we should be receiving, because there's just not enough money on that, assuming nothing changes. Okay. So this leg is shrinking too. Okay. So this leg is gone. Pension leg is gone for us. This leg is getting cut. And so in order for us to be secure in our retirement, what do we need to plan on strengthening? What leg do we need to plan on strengthening?
Personal savings.
Personal savings, right? That's what we really need to focus on. And as you can see in that article, and before I go any further, hey Josh, was there anything that you thought was interesting about the articles? Tell me which article, and we'll go to it.
The article that I did was the first article.
Okay.
The growing percentage of Americans. That one. I don't know. The one I did was like the very first one, where it said nearly 3 in 10 U.S. adults have no emergency savings, according to Bankrate's late financial security index.
Uh-huh.
And the reason I chose that one is because it tells you that most adults spend a lot of more money than they think about saving for later in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll talk about kind of how that can happen in a minute. Right? But yeah, good. Thanks. So here in this article about baby boomers and shockingly low retirement savings, $144,000 is what the average has, and we need to have that amount be more like $1 million, right? Well, that seems like a huge amount. Yes. Yeah, and it is a huge amount. Grab my calculator real quick. Actually, I'll use this one. Okay, but how long are we working? About how many years do you plan on working? When do y'all plan on retiring? What age?
Like 60.
60? Okay. And let's say you start working at 21, right? 4 years of college, you know, 21, 22, so 21. So you have about, we'll just round up, 40 years of work ahead of you. If you were to just plan on saving that just in cash and put it in the bank, you would need to save on average $25,000 per year. Right? That's a lot. Yeah, that is a lot. The fun thing about investing is you don't need to save that amount in order to get $1 million a year. Because when you've invested that money and managed it, you can put away less money. And I don't have a financial calculator on me right now, but you can put away less money and have that money grow for you to get to that, right? So putting away personal savings has become even more important, and you can hit the $1 million mark. Okay, let's see. So what do you think is going to happen as baby boomers come to the realization that, oh yeah, I can't retire on $144,000? What do y'all think is going to happen?
Maybe get another source of income, like get another job.
Okay, get another job, maybe work longer, right? You're going to work longer. Hopefully,